Hello everyone, welcome back to Don't Be Serious Myth Talk, Part 2 of RuYi JinGu Bang. In Part 1, we talk about the common knowledge of RuYi JinGu Bang. So today, let us continue the disclosure of this mythical weapon. In Part 1 of RuYi JinGu Bang, I introduced the factors, the basics of RuYi JinGu Bang. If you are interested, go check it out, man. And in Part 2, I will introduce the persons who once owned the RuYi JinGu Bang. Did you know that the RuYi JinGu Bang had been owned by two other individuals before Sun WuKong, Da Yu, Great Yu, who managed to control the flood in ancient times, and Donghai Long Wang, the king of the East China Sea. The famous Chinese ancient legendary myth, Da Yu Zhishui, Yu the Great conquering the flood, about 4,000 years ago, Sun WuKong时期, during the period of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. China was a legendary era in which Yao and Shun successfully took power. At that time, the Yellow River was constantly flooded, and some large rivers had floods every half a year. Yao, the leader of the tribal alliance, convenes a meeting of the tribal alliance to relieve the flood. Everyone recommended Yu's father, Wen, to handle it. After Wen arrived at the flooding area, he applied the blocking method, 水来土挡, floods come, earth block. He built a small earthen city like a wall around the area where people lived. When the flood came, he kept raising and thickening the soil layer. However, since the ferocious flood continuously impacted the earth walls, despite his 9 years' effort of controlling the flood, causing large waste of manpower and resources, Wen eventually failed to subdue the flood. After Shun succeeded Yao as the leader of the tribal alliance, he personally inspected the situation of flood control. He saw that Wen was helpless against the flood and delayed the important event, so they convicted Wen and executed him in Yushan. Then he appointed Wen's son, Yu, to continue the flood affair. Yu understood that in addition to blocking the flood, he should also make an effort to dredging the river. So he led his group over hills and mountains, used wooden pillars as markers to acquire the precise positions, and study characteristics of the mountains and rivers, so as to prepare to direct the floods to the sea to the east. It was when it happened, Yu asked Taizang Laojun's permit to obtain the RuYi JinGu Bang, to which he then gave a new name, Dinghai Shenzhen, to help him with his great venture. Dinghai Shenzhen had proven to be of the great help in measuring depths of rivers and seas, contributing significantly to the final success of the Great Flood's classification. 13 years later, Yu finally managed to control the flood and was honored as Da Yu, Yu the Great, by people. After this, Da Yu did not return the RuYi JinGu Bang to Taizang Laojun, but tossed it to the East China Sea. Let it sink to the bottom, later to be acquired by Donghai Long Wang, the Long King of the East China Sea. In China, Da Yu Zhishui, the story of Great Yu controlling the Great Flood, is well known to every individual, a true historical event in China's history. Rumor has it the Noah's Ark story was of the same Great Flood to Da Yu Zhishui. The story of Da Yu Zhishui first appeared in Shanhaijing, the classic of mountains and seas, which records a lot of ancient Chinese mythical monsters and demons. Comment down below if you want to hear the amazing stories and legends of Shanhaijing. I will do a new series of Shanhaijing in the future. Alright, let's come back to RuYi JinGu Bang. Wu Cheng'en, the author, referred to this history event by RuYi JinGu Bang, adding a chunk of magical color and fun to to his novel COG Journey to the West. After Da Yu finished controlling the flood, RuYi JinGu Bang was tossed and sank to the bottom of the East China Sea. Donghai Long Wang, who then obtained the RuYi JinGu Bang, placed it at the rear garden of its Donghai Longgong, the Long Palace of East China Sea. Ever since, he worshipped the godly stick by the name Tianhe Dingdi Shenzhen Tie, meaning the godly church iron at celestial river bottom for ages until the arrival of its destined owner Sun WuKong. Poor Donghai Long Wang, his third son Ao Bing, was killed by哪吒many years ago, but there's a whole different story. Now the RuYi JinGu Bang is robbed by Sun WuKong from him. Anyway, I would say the Long tribe being bullied all the time. Isn't Long the most beloved and sacred creature in the Chinese mythology? Throughout the history, Long have been admired and worshipped by people of China for centuries, and is the only holy creature of the Chinese zodiac. But in COG and Fengshen Bang, Long seem to have a whole different destiny. In COG Journey to the West, WuKong found a problem after defeating Hunshi Mo Wang, the demon king of chaos, that he lacked a proper weapon. How can the so-called Qitian Dacheng be without a powerful weapon? After being recommended to seek for a weapon that suits his status by an old monkey of Huaguoshan, a beautiful mountain rich in all kinds of greeneries, fruits, the living place of WuKong and his tribe for generations. Qitian Dacheng Sun WuKong grew a flourishing desire to gain himself a weapon, even examining a series of weapons, only to find them not handy. At this time, the old monkey said that Huaguoshan neighbors Donghai Longgong, Long Palace of East China Sea. He should try his luck there. Sun WuKong went to Donghai Longgong to find a suitable weapon from Donghai Long Wang, the Long King. At first, Donghai Long Wang thought that Sun WuKong was sent by Yuhuang Dadi, the Jade Emperor, to supervise his work. Thus, he attempted to use all kinds of flattery to gain goodwill and leave a good reputation in front of Yuhuang Dadi. But after learning Sun WuKong's true intention, which turned out that he had nothing to do with Yuhuang Dadi, Donghai Long Wang thought this rude monkey just wanted to take advantage of him and get a weapon. So he perfunctorily sent Sun WuKong some weapons, hoping he would live with satisfaction as soon as possible. However, every weapon Sun WuKong tried was too light and unsatisfactory, which really knocked the head of the Long King of East China Sea. At this time, Wei Chengxiang, the Turtle Prime Minister, came up with an idea to help relieve the situation. He said, as written in COG, and I quote, 我们这海藏中那一块天海定底的神针铁，这几日霞光艳艳，锐气腾腾，敢莫是该出现遇此圣也。 Then no one led WuKong to the RuYi JinGu Bang. WuKong shouted a few times,
再短些，再细些，再短些，再细些。
and succeeded to claim the RuYi JinGu Bang. He also flattened the Long King with a few pieces of equipment: 藕丝、步云履 those silk cloud walking shoes, 锁子、黄金甲 the golden chainmail, 凤翅、紫金冠 the purple gold crown with phoenix wings. Till then, it finally makes up his full body armor, shoes, head accessory, and weapon for the later great event on our Tiangong, havoking the Celestial Palace. Sun WuKong's doing were literally robberies. But how did the Long King react to this?
他手中的神铁磕着就死，擦着就伤啊！
In fear of the RuYi JinGu Bang's strength and power, Donghai Long Wang lacked the capability to counter Sun WuKong's bullying. Not that he had consented WuKong's crime. He could return to the Celestial Palace for justice. Sun WuKong was considered a notorious bully amongst three realms. COG says when Sun WuKong was young, he stirred Donghai Longgong, the Long Palace of the East China Sea, into quite a mess, robbing them of superb valuable weaponry. Difu, the Hell's realm, Not only did he walk among the hell as if in his backyard, but also erased the names of himself and his fellow monkeys of Mount Huaguo from Sun WuKong, the book of living and death, which granted Sun WuKong immortality, as he would never be mocked dead from the book. And the most famous event, 大闹天宫, bringing great catastrophe to the celestial palace. Sun WuKong was unstoppable until RuYi propagator Buddha, gave him a hand that he was subdued. Being subdued by the Buddha's palm, the supercilious monkey had reached his ever-first defeat. He was imprisoned under the Wuchi Shan ever since. 500 years later, a monk called Tang Xuanzang from the Tang dynasty freed him from the mountain. And so the legend of Journey to the West finally began. Alright, this is part 2 of RuYi JinGu Bang. I hope you learned something from the video and wish you a good day. In our next video, I will continue talking about the power and ability of the RuYi JinGu Bang. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe. Stay tuned at Don't Be Serious for more Chinese urban legends and Chinese mythology stories. Until then, I will see you in the myth.